Hi, I'm Tori, and I just finished reading The False Prince by Jennifer A. Nielsen. I listened to the audiobook narrated by Charlie McWade, and I had so much fun with this book. It's an amazing fantasy story full of intrigue and false identities, and I had so much fun with it. I am going to start talking about all my opinions right now, so if you want to read this awesome book, go do that, then come back to hear my opinions. Alright, so this book was so well written and the plot twist was amazing. I loved it. I loved it that Sage was really Prince Jaren, and it was so great. The writing in this book was amazing because they foreshadow it from the very first sentence of the book. The first sentence is, I wish I hadn't chosen this life, or something along those lines. And so it's so great because it's like sprinkling little breadcrumbs throughout the story for you to try to pick up on. So I started this book and it was interesting, and you could tell that Sage's past was a little mysterious, and we establish early on that he's the kind of character who lies to other people, and as a narrator he's kind of unreliable because he doesn't lie to the audience, but he definitely says true things that make you believe false things. And so I was having fun kind of going along with the story, and then we get to the part where he says that the last fight he had with his father was about his father's unwillingness to fight for any reason, or to cause a war for any reason, or something like that. And I just went, oh, your dad's the king, your dad's the king, you're really Prince Jaren. And that was so awesome, and I kept waiting for them to disprove me. I'm like, okay, something's gonna happen and it'll turn out he's something else, but everything in the story makes sense. When he hears that the king and queen and elder prince have died, you see, the first time he's alone, he's shocked and he's grieving, and they give him other reasons to grieve, but like they mentioned, I think 3 different times they talk about him grieving. The first time he's alone, and then another time when he's in the dungeon, he's thinking about all he's lost and how sad he feels, and then he says something about, now I truly am an orphan. And so, it's mixed in there all along. And he keeps talking about his mother, the barmaid, and we know that the queen came from humble origins. And then Sage is so great, he's always like, oh, I have kind of a hard time reading, but I can get through a book if I have to, which means he doesn't like reading, but he can read just fine. And like when they ask him if he has skill with a horse, he never says no. He never actually lies to them, which is hilarious because he can lie just fine when he needs to, but he has more fun telling the truth and making people believe false things. It was just so hilarious to watch him go through this adventure, being like, oh, are you saying that I'd be stupid enough to actually think I could ride that horse? And just all those different little things he did, it was so great. When he's like, oh, I don't know who could have taken this sword. It turns out he was the one who stole the sword. And then, he did such a great job. He messed up the queen's name when they were doing their trivia games and stuff. And just all these perfect little things, And he's always talking about how he worked so hard to fit into his life as an orphan. And it's great because, you don't see it. And then you see it, it's like, oh my gosh, they leave so many clues. This is so awesome. And then I think my favorite part of the whole book was when Connor has decided that Ronan is going to be the prince. And he looks at Sage, and he's like, no, you're not going to be the prince. And then Sage does the coin flip thingy. I was totally picturing Jack Sparrow doing that in Pirates of the Caribbean. And then Connor says, oh my goodness, I have been so blind. The fates must be laughing at me that I didn't see. And so you think, okay, he's figured it out. He knows that Sage is Prince Jaren. But then he says, I need a boy who can do the coin flippy thing. And it's just like, oh, you poor little guy, you almost had it. Better luck next time. Good job. A for effort. And I love the whole palace scene, breaking into the palace, and Sage has all this information and stuff. I did think that was a little over dramatic. Like once Sage was crowned prince, then he just had guards. He could just snap his fingers and take care of everything. Be like, oh, lock this person up for a murder charge that I have no proof of, but I am the king now, so I can say that. And I thought that seemed like slightly far-fetched, but it was still fun to just kind of revel in the glory of Sage won! He's the prince now! Yay! So I will be really interested to see what happens in future books, because it sounds like there's a lot of political turmoil that they'll have to deal with, and a lot of people are going to try to kill Sage, and they also set up a couple of potential love interests. There's Imogen, who he definitely has a huge crush on, and who is like tolerating him, and she's mad at him now, but she'll forgive him eventually, because that's how these things go. And then there is also the princess who was going to marry his brother. And my prediction right now is that he will kind of flirt with both of them, and over time, he'll consider one or the other, and then in the end, he'll probably end up with Imogen, and the princess will find someone else, or who knows, maybe Sage's family isn't even dead, because apparently it's really easy to fake your own death in this world. This book was so much fun. I had such a great time reading it and trying to figure out if my theories were right or wrong or what was going on. It was so much fun just to watch all of the deception and the lies. I had a great time with this book, and I'm going to go start the next one right now.